I was practically
I
invisible to
keep
them.
thinking about how that day ended.
So I left the train station.
I wish I could move
I
past
saw
it,
two
but
officers
it's
sitting
rather
in their
difficult.
car and considered approaching them.
And the
But they were wearing
experience
sunglasses, and
warrants
that made me
description.
think of agents from the Matrix. So I decided
We
against
are
it.
living in a transitory period,
I knew that all I
a
wanted to
period
see
in
was my
time
love.
where some of us have the
My heart
awareness
was
and
beating
some do
hard
not.
against my chest. My
It will
surroundings
not
were
last
blurry.
forever.
People moved all around me.
The wet cement will
And I
dry
had to view them as
eventually.
extras on a movie set. I had to.
So we have the
I
memory,
leaned up against the wall and tried breathing deeply.
that wonderful yet
I
terrifying
had to
memory.
slow my heart rate. My mind was racing,
It had rained earlier
searching
in the
for a
day,
solution.
stormed the night
I went
before.
through every parable, tale, and
I
philosophical
believed
quote I
I
could
was
come
the
up with
cause
to
of
make
it.
sense of things. As above, so
In the
below.
afternoon it was sunny,
Home is where the heart is.
and I had lost my
That
mind.
one rang true.
My
Home is where
clothes
the
littered
heart
the
is.
driveway and the streets in front of
I
me.
touched my heart.
My laptop lay on
Where
the
is
concrete
home?
smashed to
I asked
bits.
myself.
My
heavy
phone was
breathing
somewhere
was finally
amongst the
starting to
wreckage.
subside.
It had stopped working,
Home is
so I ended
wherever I
up chucking
wanted
that
to
over
be,
as well.
I said. And then I saw
And
the
then I
image
just
of the
stood there.
apartment I had just left.
For hours.
She was waiting there.
And it
She was
felt
waiting
as
for
if
me
time
there.
were freezing.
A new surge of energy ran
The
through
amount
me.
of pictures I saw in my head,
I was going to find her.
men screaming,
I started to sprint.
only they didn't look like
A
men.
homeless woman hissed at me as I
Their
passed.
faces were exaggerated,
It was so startlingly,
longer,
I even
and I could
jumped
hear
and
them.
scraped my toe against the concrete
They
sidewalk.
weren't ordinary screams, but the
And then I
screams of
laughed.
something unearthly.
Because I remembered that reality was nothing more than
Then I saw
intermingling
pictures of my
forces of
friends,
energy, and
and they were
I was the
laughing and
enlightened
partying.
one, running home to his love.
And eating,
I sprinted most
and
of the way
enjoying
there.
each other's company.
As I got closer and closer, my mind started going
Those
over the
pictures
events
made me
leading up
realize
to
that what I
moment.
was doing was absolutely worth it.
I was going crazy, and I knew
No
it.
matter what happened to me in my
I was
life,
going
a
to lose
sort
my
of
girlfriend.
community would form.
She wouldn't stay with me.
The thought of how much
I
human
didn't know what I
beings
was
actually
anymore.
needed each other.
I didn't know who I was.
That thought ran through my head.
I stopped running. Then I stopped walking.
And then the picture stopped playing.
I fell to my knees and started to cry.
And I saw darkness.
Right there on the sidewalk.
And I felt the cold breeze on my skin.
And as I cried, I thought what a wonderful shot
I
this
had
would
never
make for my
felt so
movie.
still, so at
And
peace,
then I cried harder.
with the shambles of
cried
my
out of
belongings
confusion,
lying there, 3
Out of
stories below me.
exhilaration, out of sadness, and I
In
even
that
cried
moment,
out
I
of
understood
happiness.
that what had taken place
Because if
transcended
there had to be
intelligence.
one thing I was certain of, I was
The
completely
experience
and
was my
utterly certain
grand
of the
exit
fact
outside
that
of
I
the
was free.
matrix.
I knew that truth within
After some
every
time had
fiber
passed,
of
I
my
finally
being.
opened my eyes,
I was free.
and the human impulses started coming back to me,
Finally, the tears stopped,
which I thought was a good
and I
sign.
straightened myself up.
I didn't want to be
I
God
bowed as
or
I
Jesus
accepted my
Christ. I
Oscar
just
and
wanted to
continued
be
on my way.
Sean.
I was almost there.
And in that moment, the only
could
thing
see the
Sean
apartment.
wanted, more
A young
than
man
anything
stopped
in the
me as I was
entire
just about
world,
to arrive.
was his girlfriend.
Wow, you're fucking ripped, man.
I could feel
Can we
myself
arm wrestle
on
real
the
quick?
verge of breaking down.
He was sent by someone.
I couldn't
That was the
comprehend
only
everything
explanation.
fully.
But he
My
posed
mind
no
would
threat
not
because
allow
no
me
man
to
did.
focus on the events.
So I
Only the
obliged him.
desire. Only the impulse.
We laid down on the concrete
I
across
had
from
to
each other
find
and
her.
locked hands.
So I
Begin,
stepped
I
off the
whispered.
step stool and headed downstairs to exit
I
the
still
apartment.
had too much energy. I had to
I
get
was
rid
still
of it
naked
before
at
I'd
the
be able
time.
to see my love.
By then,
I
the landlord
understood the
was
rules.
standing in the driveway looking at
His
all
head
that I
went
had
down
done.
into his chest as he struggled.
When I appeared, he
watched
looked at
him.
me and spread out his arms, questioning
Look into
me.
my eyes, I said calmly.
I remember looking at him and my
His head
testicles
jerked up.
tingling.
My face
This
was
man
tear-stricken.
posed no threat to me.
He looked into the bottomless
No man
depths of the enlightened one.
I
and
had
his face
become
changed.
immortal.
He became something more than
I
when
grabbed
he
a
first
pair
met
of
me.
pants from the ground and put them
And then he
on.
beat me.
I told the man that I would be back.
Remember this moment for the
And then
rest
I
of your
walked
life, I
off.
said.
Now, only
Remember how
shirtless
you
and barefoot
feel in
in
this
search
moment
of my
and take
woman.
that with you for the rest of your life.
The world seemed
He
smaller.
understood. He
I thought I
thanked
would
me for
check
the
the
match
train
and went on
station.
his way.
I was very confused.
Now I felt ready to see her.
My mind was fractured into a
As
tiny
I approached
1,000
the
bits, and
driveway
I
of the
knew I was
apartment, my
going to take
200-pound bodybuilder roommate
good amount of
approached me
time to
holding the
reassemble it.
headshots I had thrown out into the wind earlier that day.
I relied on nothing
was
but
angry.
feeling and impulse.
What the
I
hell,
wasn't
Sean?
allowed on the train because I wasn't
What
wearing
did you
a
do?
shirt.
The landlord told
The
me
worker
you
wouldn't
went
make
crazy?
eye contact with me.
Y-
He told me to go outside
can't
and
do
ask
that.
the police officer for a
I
shirt.
live here.
Before I left,
Why did you do that?
I remember looking into the
sorry,
window of the
I
nearest
told
train
him.
compartment and seeing my face.
Why didn't you tell me you had problems?
Someone was looking at my Twitter
Why didn't you
page,
tell me?
and the
I
man
live
sitting
here,
next
man.
to him
You
appeared to
can't
be
do that
reading
kind
my
of stuff
blog.
here. He was bigger than
Those
me,
two realizations
and
sped
he
up my
was
heart
angry.
rate.
More scared
I
than
started
angry.
looking around the entire platform.
I wondered if he posed a threat.
Everyone's head was
I
down.
was looking into his eyes.
Everyone was looking
He
down into
averted
their
making
phones.
direct eye contact.
I wanted to scream
Still,
at them.
I had to be certain.
I'm standing right here in front of you.
I looked at
I'm
the
right
face
here.
of the headshots. My face.
But that would have been crazy.
In the photos, I was wearing
Plus,
an
in that
orange
moment,
shirt.
I was closer to the fourth
My
dimension
roommate
than I
was
was
wearing
the
an
third.
orange shirt standing in front of me.
I was practically invisible to
What
them.
was the connection my brain was trying to make in that moment?
So I left the train station.
Myself and my roommate
I saw
are
two
the
officers
same.
sitting in their car and considered
My
approaching them.
roommate is nothing more than
But
an
they were wearing
extension of my own
sunglasses, and
consciousness.
that made me think of Agent from The Matrix,
Trust him.
so I decided against it.
I blinked.
I knew that all I
You're
wanted
right.
was to see my love.
I am so sorry.
My heart was beating hard against my
I
chest.
didn't know I would do this.
My surroundings were
I'm sorry.
blurry.
Tears fell.
People moved all around me,
You need help.
and I had to view them as
I nodded
extras
my
on a
head.
movie set.
You're right.
I had to.
My
I
eyes
leaned up
darted to
against
the
the wall
entrance
and
of the
tried
apartment.
breathing deeply.
Sit
I
down.
had to slow
he
my
said.
heart rate.
I
My
obliged
mind
him.
was racing, searching for
I
a
sat
solution.
cross-legged on the sidewalk,
I
waiting
went
for the
through
next
every
step.
parable, tale, and
was over
philosophical
now.
quote I could come up with
Nothing
to make
left but the
sense of
cleanup.
things.
The driveway was clear.
As above, so below.
All of my things had
Home
been
is where
picked
the
up.
heart is.
What's your mom's
That
number?
one rang true.
I tried reciting
Home
it.
is where the heart is.
I stopped at the last 4 digits.
I touched my
I
heart.
frowned. I never
Where
knew
is
it.
home? I asked
But
myself.
that didn't matter.
My
I had
heavy
done all
breathing
that
was
research on
finally
how
starting
to
to subside.
access information that had been
Home
obtained
is
via
wherever I
peripheral
wanted to
discovery.
be, I said.
Any information I've ever glanced
And
at
then I
should be
saw the
locked
image of
inside
the
my
apartment I
head.
had just left.
But I couldn't recall the last 4 digits.
She was waiting there.
What's your
She
girlfriend's
was waiting
number?
for me there.
My heart leapt.
A
It
new
was
surge of
Christmas.
energy ran through me.
Now it made sense.
I was going to find her.
It was his fault for thinking
I
to call my
started to
mother.
sprint.
She wasn't the
A
one I wanted
homeless
to
woman
see,
hissed at me as I passed.
and so I could not
It
recall
was
her
so
number.
startling. It was so
My love's
startling I
number,
even
however,
jumped and scraped my toe
I
against the
recited
concrete
as if
sidewalk.
I were a mechanized
And
robot.
then I laughed.
My
Because
voice
I
went
remembered that
monotone, and the
reality
numbers
was
came
nothing
to me
more
from
than
space.
intermingling forces of
He
energy.
had me repeat it again.
And I was the
said it too
enlightened one
fast.
running home to his love.
I did as I was told. I
I
was getting
sprinted
what I
most of the
wanted.
way there.
I wanted to jump for
As
joy.
I got closer and closer,
He
my
called.
mind started going over the
He walked
events
away
leading
from me
up
as
to
he
that
spoke to
moment.
her. I didn't
I
care.
was going crazy, and I
paid
knew
no
it.
attention to him.
I
There
was
was
going to lose
activity
my
happening at the
girlfriend.
entrance to the apartment.
She wouldn't stay with
People
me.
kept coming and going, and the
I
door
didn't
was
know what
wide
I was
open.
anymore. I didn't know
I
who
wanted
I
to go
was.
inside. I wanted to go in my
I
room
stopped
and meet
running.
my love there,
Then I stopped
along with
walking.
everyone else.
I fell
I
to my
stood up
knees
and
and
started
started to
walking
cry.
right to the door. My
Right
roommate
there on
yelled
the
out,
sidewalk.
"Close that door!"
And as
It was
I
a
cried,
girl.
I thought what
She
a
did as she
wonderful
was
shot
told.
this would make for my movie.
"I told you to sit down,
And then
Sean.
I cried harder.
Your girlfriend is coming to get you."
I cried out of
I sighed.
confusion, out of
I didn't like being
exhilaration,
told what to do.
out of sadness,
I was starting to feel
and
violent.
even cried out of
None of it
happiness.
felt real to me. Yet I
Because
sat down
if there
again,
was one thing that
this
I had to
time
be
with my
certain
back
of,
against the wall of the
I
apartment.
was completely and utterly
No
certain
sooner had I
of the
closed my
fact that
eyes
I
to
was
reflect
free.
inward did I hear a car door slam.
I knew that truth
I looked up, and
within
there
every
she was,
fiber of my being.
walking calmly towards me.
I was free.
Her old college roommate was with her. She was a psych
Finally,
major.
the tears stopped.
My mind ran
and
through
I
all of
straightened
the hours
myself
and
up.
hours of dialogue I had shared with this
I
girl in less
bowed
than a
as I
second.
accepted my Oscar
This girl knew me.
and continued on my way.
She was in on it.
I was almost
They
there.
both came to me then like
I could
figures
see
out
the
of a
apartment.
dream.
A
They
young
were the
man
only
stopped
real
with me
things
as
I'd seen
I
the entire
was just
day.
about to arrive.
Next to them, everything and
Wow,
everyone
you're
else
fucking
just
ripped,
seemed
man. Can we arm wrestle
untrue.
real quick?
They looked like
He was sent by
aliens
someone.
compared to the humans I had dealt with.
That
the
was the only
majority of the day.
explanation.
They looked like
But he
legitimate
posed no
aliens.
threat because no man did.
Then I realized what that
So I
meant me.
obliged him.
But I
We
shrugged
lay
the
down
thought
on the
off.
concrete across from each other
They were gliding
and locked
over
our
to me,
hands.
getting closer and closer.
Begin, I whispered.
And then she touched me.
I still had too much
And her
energy.
touch was cold.
I had to get rid of it before I'd be able to see my
Are
love.
you okay, Sean?
I understood the
My
rules.
love.
His
Her
head
voice
went
was
down
so
into his
calm.
chest as he struggled. I
While
watched
everyone
him.
around us seemed to be literally shaking,
Look
she
into
stood
my eyes,
solid.
I said
real.
calmly. His
I
head
nodded.
jerked up. My
Now
face
that
was
you're here,
tear-stricken.
I whispered.
He looked into the bottomless
Your roommate is pretty
depths of the
frightened.
enlightened one.
I'm going to go talk to him and
his
then
face
get your things
changed.
from upstairs. Sit
He
here and
became
talk to Mia
something
while I'll
more
do that.
than when he first met me,
Mia sat down next to me.
and then he beat me.
It was really smart of you to
Remember this
accompany
moment for
her
the
like
rest of your
this.
life, I said.
Brilliant, in fact.
Remember how you feel
Mia
in
laughed.
this moment and take
I
that
didn't
with
really
you for the
think
rest
of
of your life.
It kind of just came to me,
He
like
understood.
an impulse. I nodded.
He thanked me for the
Well, it
match
worked.
and went on his way.
I cocked my head.
Now I felt ready to see her.
What's next after this?
As I
Again, she
approached the
giggled.
driveway of the apartment, my
You tell me,
200-pound
Sean.
bodybuilder
This is all
roommate
you're doing.
approached me holding the
She
headshots
spread
I
out
had
her
thrown
hands
out
at the scene in
into
front
the
of
wind
us.
earlier that day.
My girlfriend was off
He was
several yards
angry.
away, patiently talking to my roommate.
What the hell,
There was a
Sean?
call pulling up into the driveway.
What did you do?
Activity going
The
on
landlord
from
told me you
inside
went
behind
crazy?
me. Shrill voices.
You
I winced
can't
and dipped
do
my
that
head,
here. I
closing
live
my
here.
eyes.
Why did you do that?
What are you doing, Sean?
I'm sorry,
Mia
I
asked.
told him.
I'm listening.
Why didn't you
I
tell me you had
quietly.
problems? Why
then
why
it
didn't you tell
changed.
me? I live here,
They were
man.
speaking different
You can't do
languages.
that kind of stuff
They
here.
were bouncing off each other.
He was bigger than me.
A woman overhead yelling from
And
the
he was
second story
angry.
balcony down at the individuals in the
More
car.
scared than angry.
My roommate hysterical,
I
speaking
wondered
with
if
my
he
love.
posed a threat.
Too many voices.
I was looking into
Too
his
many
eyes.
dialects. Too
He
shrill.
averted making direct eye
I
contact.
took a deep breath and let it
Still,
out.
I had to be certain.
I saw it spread out among the
I
individuals
looked at the
even as
face
my eyes stayed
on the
closed.
headshots.
I saw the breath
My
affect
face.
them.
In
They
the
became
photos,
more
I was wearing an
relaxed,
orange shirt.
as if I had become
My roommate was
some
wearing an
sort of
orange shirt standing in
hypnosis.
front of me.
Then something happened
What
that
was
only
the
I could hear in
connection
my
my
head.
brain was trying to make in that
Something that
moment?
sounded like a changing of pitch.
Myself and my roommate
And then
are
the
the
dialect
same.
stopped, and
My
everyone
roommate
began
is
speaking the
nothing
same
more than an
language,
extension of my own
calmly.
consciousness. Trust him.
When it first started, I was terrified.
I blinked.
I didn't know what was going on.
You're right.
I heard one woman say to another.
I am so sorry. I didn't know
I opened my
I
eyes
would
and
do
looked
this.
at Mia.
I'm sorry.
What have I done?
Tears fell.
I asked her.
You need help.
She met my eyes.
I nodded my head.
There was a big
You're right,
white
I
light
do.
in the center of them.
My eyes darted to
Two
the entrance
immortals.
of the apartment. Sit down,
Only
he
you
said.
can know that, Sean.
I obliged him. I sat cross-legged on